Last time, Peter, we made a comment, or I think I made a comment, like we'll come back to a point about not just God being a creator, but being a sustainer. And
Yeah.
so I want to talk about that a little bit and just quote a couple of verses to encourage people to realise that God is in the everyday life now of this world that He's put us in and that we're called to care for. So I'm just going to quote from the Psalms 3 times and just one comment from Colossians. And then if you want to interact with that, by all means, please just come back to me on it. So, for example, in Psalm 65, he says this: "You care for the land and water it. You enrich it abundantly." It's not did enrich it, it's enrich it ongoingly. "The streams of God are filled with water to provide the people with corn, for so you have ordained it," and so on throughout Psalm 65. And then in Psalm 74, it says, "The day is yours, and yours also the night. You established the sun and moon. It was you who set all the boundaries of the earth. You made both summer and winter." And are still, obviously, still making summer and winter and spring and autumn, although there is a bit of a blurring around the edges as we sort of muck up the whole climate dynamic, but that's another conversation. But there's a sense in these Psalms that God is in the everyday and the unfolding of what happens in the creation that we're part of. And again in the Psalms, Psalm 139, quite a famous one for us, looking at ourselves and what mess we might be in, that we've talked about quite a lot under repentance, where it says, for example, "Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you're there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me. Your right hand will hold me fast." It's difficult to get away from God kind of holding it all together. And another verse, just my final one here, Colossians 1:17, which says, let me just find it. He says, "He is before all things," creator kind of stuff, "and in him all things hold together." So there's like well, I made it, but I'm still holding it all together, even though we're making a pretty good job of messing it up. So that's my thoughts on sustaining and how we're in this situation. There's loads more examples I could give, because you mentioned near the start of these repentance talks that what sort of references could I make in the Bible? And I want to kind of imply that as you go through the thread of it, He's in it, and I'm going to talk about that in the next one actually, all the way through. So any thoughts from the man of wisdom?
I'm not so sure about that, but God sustaining things, I think, I'm not a person that thinks that the universe just is and you don't need God. I think all the energy requires work, because if you have the light on, if the electricity stops, the light turns off. And I think the sustaining of all the Earth's forces requires constant work.
Is that from us though, or is that from God?
Well, I think it can, in this, what I'm trying to say is that God sustains the physical world, just like all the energy and things like that,
in order that we might manoeuvre it for our betterment.
So, and I think that physical God having an input in the energy of the world, I think that can also be applied to like our own personal lives, that God still sustains us. He doesn't just make us and leave us to run like a game or a simulation.
Yeah.
He sustains our life as we go along.
Yeah.
So that's part of like personal.
His presence with us, if you like.
Yeah, because the whole thing of what we talked about before with, God making the world like a creator, and then the nature just on its own can just do its own thing. I think our personal life and the physical world needs an ongoing sustenance of God. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's about a presence in us, but it's also a presence in creation, and it's the whole thing packaged together, which is what those 4 points at the start, God and creation, God and humanity, humans and so on, were all about, really. It's saying
No,
the
thank
whole
you
package.
for those verses.
Brilliant. Okay, so that's today.
Thank you. Bye.